Alright guys, so in this video right here, I want to cover 10 hot selling things that you can list on Facebook Marketplace in September to get sales, right? Now this is obviously good for beginners, this will kind of jumpstart you, give you some good ideas and good niches to kind of start listing products in to take your store to like the next level and get it off and running, right? And obviously if you have a store already or you're already listing on Facebook Marketplace, these are going to help you add sales to your catalog, okay? So the first one is, and before we actually jump into this, like I always say in these videos, do not just go out and like list one of these. So for example, like if I said like mouses, or usually this is mice, but like computer mouses is the plural word. So if I was gonna say like list a computer mouse, right? Like that doesn't mean just list one or two computer mouses from one supplier and think that it either works or it doesn't, right? What it means is go out, find a bunch of suppliers, list a bunch of different variations from those suppliers, and typically one or two of those will hit if you list a bunch, okay? You gotta give yourself a chance to do it. Don't just go out and list one or two from one supplier or your normal supplier, not get any sales and think it doesn't work, okay? But all of these things are things that were selling well for me toward the end of August, obviously, and have been selling well for me for a little bit. So they're selling well now, and if you list these things, it will work for you, okay? First and foremost is golf training equipment, and these have been selling well for me really all summer long, but especially right now. They really picked up like the past 2 to 3 weeks or so, and it's golf training equipment like, for example, like mats so that you can focus on like your swing path so you're not going like in or out. Obviously that matters a lot in golf. Little things like sharpeners for your golf club, like the grooves in your irons, right? Like things like that. Anything golf related that helps your swing, helps golf, like helps you train. Obviously, another one is like when you're swinging, like I guess your irons, like you hold like a ball in between, so make sure that you're coming down like flush or smooth. I don't really know, but go out, list a bunch of different golf training equipment. It's been selling well for me recently. Okay. Another thing is something that I listed randomly, just on a whim. I was listing like art and craft supplies and like sewing stuff because that used to work for me like, I don't know, like 2-3 months ago, and it kind of fell off and I haven't seen any luck with it. So I was listing a bunch of different variations of that, and yarn and thread, just your typical yarn and thread in like bundles of like different colors and stuff like that, has been selling well for me recently in the past couple weeks. So go out, list it. I don't know what the correlation is, like maybe it's getting a little cooler out now. People aren't going out as much. I don't really know what it is, but that's been selling well for me. Go ahead and list it, okay? The next thing is soccer goals. Now, I'm assuming, I don't really know when soccer starts specifically. I know like the Premier League just started recently and all like the leagues are going back into it. So I'm assuming that like youth soccer and stuff like that is like coming back into it. So like people are buying like nets for soccer goals. They're also buying like soccer goals in general to stick in your backyard, kickbacks, and I'm assuming that's because kids are out, they're playing youth soccer, and obviously the parents want them to, get better, train in the backyard or whatever it is, right? List soccer goals, kickbacks, soccer nets, anything soccer related has been selling well for me recently, okay? Baseball is still kind of selling okay, but it hasn't sold as well as it was like a month or two ago. It's kind of falling off, and it seems like soccer is what's hot right now in like youth sports, okay? So list soccer stuff, especially soccer goals. The next one is trading cards, literally all sorts of trading cards. So I've listed baseball cards, and those sell really, really well, right? I've listed not so much basketball cards or football cards, I don't think, but like other like card game trading cards. So like Magic sold really well, like the new Magic bundles. Yu-Gi-Oh! Sometimes. What's the other one? Pokemon cards. There's a few other ones out there, but pretty much any trading cards, obviously sports cards, but also like your game trading cards. Those have been selling really, really well, and the benefit of those is like you can usually find them very, very cheap on certain websites. You can also bundle them very, very easily, and it's very, very cheap to ship. It usually doesn't cost you anything to ship it, obviously, if you're getting free shipping or if they're charging you shipping on that website. It's not very expensive, right? So it's usually something that you can have a pretty decent margin on, and not a lot of headaches come with it, okay? So trading cards, list those. The next thing is something that's been selling well for me really for the past 3 or 4 months, and these are all things too, guys, that like this isn't special, right? Like I'm not trying to tell you like these are the 10 hottest selling things that you should sell in September. Like everybody in other videos I feel like fronts and they're like, these are the things that you should be selling. But like realistically, like let's be real, they're not giving you the things that are the hottest for them, or like they're just making some, whatever it is, right? I'm not saying that these are like my 10 hottest selling items, but what I literally just do right before this video, I don't plan it, it's not staged. I just go down my latest shipment, I go down to my shipping orders on Facebook Marketplace, my Facebook shop, and I just look for patterns, right? Like what's showing up a lot. Also, I know that like inherently in my mind because I'm the one that processes the orders the most of the time. So I literally go down and I just see what's sold a lot recently. And the first 10 things that come to mind that I'm like, oh, that's sold like a couple times recently, I'm going to list that. Or like, that's been selling for a while, I put it on the sheet, right? And I just come up with 10 things that have been selling well for me recently based on my previous current sales data, right? So like, this isn't staged. This is not necessarily the 10 best-selling things this month for September or last month for August, right? But these are things that have been selling well for me recently. I literally just looked at my shipping orders to check this, okay? So number 5 is heat presses and heat mats. And like I said, like these have been selling well for the past 3 to 4 months, honestly. These, ever since I started listing, these have been selling well. List heat presses and heat mats. Not so much, I haven't had too much luck with like the high-end heat presses, like the $300 ones or like the $250 ones or anything like that. But if you can find like cheaper, lower priced heat presses, and obviously like the mats and all like the tools that go along with the heat presses, I don't know what that is, honestly. I guess it's for like pressing shirts and stuff. I'm really not sure, honestly. But they sell well and they have been for a while. The next one, number 6, is sod cutters and sickle tools. I made an absolute killing in August on these, and I didn't even know what these were, right? I like 10 sales a day, and not just one listing, like a couple of different listings. So I didn't know what a sickle tool was before this. Now I do. So sod cutters and sickle tools, they're literally just like almost like, what's the word for it? It's almost like cutting shears, but it's like one, like, picture like somebody like cutting like trees down or like cutting like crops down. That's almost what it looks like to me. Some of them are straight, some of them are curved. You really have to be careful when you're listing these though, because like sometimes Facebook Marketplace picks them up and construes them as weapons, and then they like flag you. So not a big deal if you just list a bunch and a couple of them are flagged, just delete them. It's not a big deal. But obviously you want to make sure that there's nothing like, no keywords in your listing that like are setting off the algorithm or anything. But I sold and literally made a killing on these in the past month, and a little bit, I mean, granted it's only the 4th of September, so I haven't sold too many of them this month, but I anticipate selling them, continuously into the future, okay? The next thing, number 7, is metal detectors. Again, I really don't have any idea of why these started picking up recently, but they have. My only guess is the only time I really ever see metal detectors is like when I'm on the beach, like down the shore, there's like people walking with metal detectors, like checking the beach. My only guess here is like maybe a lot less people are going to the beach. It's like starting to get toward the end of like, summer, and like where like everybody's kind of leaving the beach. So maybe people are buying metal detectors to go search through it more, because there was a lot of influx of people there. People lose like wedding rings in the sand. They lose like, money and all sorts of valuable stuff. That's the only thing I can really think of. I really don't know why else they'd be hot right now, but the sales data can't lie. I've been selling a lot of these recently, okay? Number 8 is power adapter cords, and these are like the ones for your garage, or like outdoor ones that are heavy duty to like plug into the wall outlet outdoors, or like in your garage for power tools. It's not necessarily like the little kind of extension cords or the little ones that like give you a bunch of other, like one that turns into like 5, right? I'm not talking about the ones for inside. I'm talking about the heavy duty like extension cords, heavy duty power adapters for like power cords, and also somewhat, this isn't something that I put on, but these also, little caveat here, like adapters for cars that you can like plug into the car, where like the cigarette lighter goes, or like anything like that turns into like a power outlet. Those also sell really, really well. That's not the reason I put this on there, but that's something else that sells well as well. So power adapter cords, pretty much anything along those lines for outdoors, and also a little bonus there for you, power adapters for like and adapter cords for your car. Okay. Number 9 is car brand merch. Again, this has been selling well for me for a long time. This isn't anything new, but they've been selling obviously recently as well. So we're talking like Ford, Chevy, Dodge, like all your normal generic American brands. Like people buy that, like you typically, and I'm not any one of these people, I don't have a truck or anything, but like typically, like, if you buy Ford, you're a Ford guy, right? Like, and if you buy Chevy, you're a Chevy guy, right? And if you buy Dodge, like, you're a Dodge or GMC or whatever it is, right? And so people kind of rep those brands. And so it's not just about, like, going out and purchasing the car, although that works. People also purchase all sorts of branded stuff for their cars, right? So another little bonus there for you. But they also buy merch. So we're talking like Chevy hats, like Ford shirts, Ford keychains for your car, like anything, like any merch like that sells really, really well. Also, a lot of the Formula One, so like Ferrari, believe it or not, little fun fact, Ferrari doesn't make nearly even close to as much money profit-wise on selling Ferrari cars as they do selling Ferrari merch. And when I first learned that, like, that blew my mind, right? Ferrari merch sells extremely well, and it's been selling very, very well for me. Also, like that dude, I forget his name, Hamilton. I think it's like Lewis Hamilton or whatever. Any like the popular Formula One drivers, all that stuff sells really, really well. Also, I know I'm going off on a tangent, but like ever since Ronaldo moved and ever since Messi moved, I've been selling a lot of Messi PSG merch and a lot of Ronaldo Man U merch. So like anything like that. But obviously, that's like branded merch for those people, but this ties back to like list Ferrari merch because it's Formula One, list top Formula One drivers, and the same thing goes with like soccer, right? Like the top soccer people in the world, there's a lot of Ronaldo fans, there's a lot of Messi fans, and just like you become like a Ford person or like, a Chevy guy that wears Chevy hats and Chevy shirts and Chevy merch and all whatever, like there are Ronaldo fans and there are Messi fans, there are Lewis Hamilton fans, and then there are, I don't even know another Formula One driver, but you get the picture, right? So car brand merch, any of that merch, hope it helps, okay? The only annoyance there is like if you have a VA or if you're doing it yourself, like if you're listing some merch, like every once in a while it can be annoying to like, it slows you down because you have to list multiple variations, because there are multiple sizes sometimes, multiple colors, and that can be annoying, but if you're willing to do it, it does work very, very well, right? And last one before I give you a little bonus for sticking around is storage carts. So like home organizer bins for like kids' toys, like movable storage carts, home organizers for the garage. Literally any home organizers or storage bins have been selling really, really well. I don't know why. I don't know what the correlation is in the time, but they really started picking up this last month. So obviously list those. They've been working well. And a little bonus is obvious, it's an obvious one, but as we come up, like, seasonally towards holiday season, you have Halloween coming up, you have Thanksgiving coming up, you have Christmas coming up. So this is really the time to start hunkering down and getting your listings up and out because you can make an absolute killing. It doesn't matter if we're talking specifically about Facebook Marketplace like we are in this video, or if we're talking about eBay or Poshmark or Mercari or Amazon. This is the time to really kind of, go at it, go all in, because this is the time where you're going to make the most of your money this year, right? Q4 is an absolute killer, and we're kicking off Q4, obviously, as we approach into Halloween. Now, Halloween and Thanksgiving aren't even close to the amount of, sales that you'll get closer to Christmas, but it does start now, so start listing Halloween costumes, start listing Halloween masks, or start listing, Halloween decor, like, decorations to like scare people or whatever it is. Start listing fall decor, start listing Christmas trees. Literally anything like that will really, really start to take off. Maybe not immediately because it is only like September 4th, but obviously if you get all those listings up now, you'll start to get sales, and then you'll be ready for when the frenzy starts, right? You don't want to be at the end of the wave. You want to get a little bit ahead of it or hit it right on, okay? So start listing that stuff right now. But really hope all these help, guys, as well as the bonuses. If you have any questions, drop them in the comments section down below. I'd love to hear from you, and I'll see you in the next one.